Happy Monday. It's the middle of the day, and I'm excited to teach you guys just a little energizing 30-minute class. I'll write that in the description as well. I forgot to mention that. This was just thrown together accidentally. So I was supposed to have class at 8 this morning, but then time and microphone on my computer stopped working. So when in doubt, reboot your computer is a lesson learned. So enough talking, let's get to the front of our mats. And we're gonna stand about hip width distance apart, and we're gonna check in with everything that is on the floor and then work our way up to our head. So like I said, feet are about hip width distance apart here. And you can find your hip bones. Those are those two bony things right here. And then you're just gonna, how would I turn face? You're just gonna follow those bones all the way down to your feet. And that's hip width. So we're standing hip width distance apart. And our palms are facing forward, which will nicely rotate the arms so that the shoulders are dropping down away from your ears. And then you're going to pretend that there is a string pulling you from the top of your head all the way into the sky. And you're going to take a deep breath in and a deep breath out. You can do it out through your nose or out through your mouth. I kind of just do whatever just feels naturally. I find for myself letting my breath out through my mouth at first is nice, and then when I get into my practice, I do an Ujjayi Breath, which is just in through the nose and out through your nose. Again, that's Ujjayi Breath. I'm like a little yoga terminology for you. Inhale again. Take a nice exhale. Reach the arms up now. We're gonna take them straight over our heads. I said heads, yeah, you might have more than one head. So we're reaching with our fingertips as we press down through the feet. And we're breathing. Because breathing is good and it gives you oxygen, and we love oxygen, right? Another inhale. Exhale. You're going to take your hands together and then bring them towards your heart center. So right in the middle of your chest. I'm just going to take a moment to settle into our practice, to settle into our day, and just be present. I know I say just, I'm like, just be present. Simple as that, right? No, that can be difficult. You know, even teaching, it's difficult to sometimes stay focused on what I'm doing in the postures and what I'm saying. And I get nervous about teaching, so it's nice to do this with you. I'm practicing myself teaching. So therefore, I too am still a student, right? And if you notice, my eyes are closed right now. I prefer closing my eyes just to take away all the distractions around me visually. I invite you to try that with me if you want. It can be a little nerve-wracking at first. Maybe you're like, no thanks, lady. Yoga is just hard enough with our eyes open. Why are we going to close them? Anyhow, so deep breath in, deep breath out. Enough of my rambling. We'll take ourselves back into the practice, back into the breath. And then we'll reach the arms up over our head again. And we're going to take some sun salutations. So we're going to fold at the hip here, still reaching the arms forward. I just wanted to let you visualize it if you're looking at me. And we're reaching through the crown of our head. I'll have you bring your hands to your hips actually, because I have a mirror in front of my head and the arms would be a little awkward. And we're going to slowly take our time as we press down through the feet. And lift up through the hips here as you fold at the waist nice and slowly. And there's a slight bend in my knees here just to protect the knee joint. I often hyperextend my legs. I'm going to release the arms now down on the earth. Just going to warm it up here for a moment. Again, take a nice deep bend in the knees if you haven't already, or just do whatever feels good in the legs right now. Maybe bend into one knee, straighten the other. And this is a nice forward fold stretch here. It's a little early, so the hamstrings are probably really tight. It's a little early. It's literally 3 o'clock in the afternoon, Desirée. Anywho, it's early for your body still, you know. So we'll take an inhale now, but on the inhale, I want you to plant the hands relatively close to the toes. And they can be in front of them. I like to do the outside, just as long as they're shoulder width apart. So on that inhale, we're not going to lift our head like I was doing. Don't do that. We're going to tilt the gaze now down into the back of the room. And naturally, that'll just allow the neck to release. And that feels good. Take a breath in here and a breath out. Another one in and another one out. Nicely done. So on an inhale, we're going to lengthen our back. So maybe that starts with pressing down through the feet, putting a nice bend in the knee, lifting up through the hips, and not straightening your back, but neutralizing the spine here. So pressing down through the hands also. So starting with everything that's on the floor, you know, the hands, the feet, let's push away from the floor with those. And the gaze will again be natural, not kinking the neck, you know, maybe looking between the feet. That's where I'm looking right now, and that kind of feels pretty good, but it's going to be different for everybody. So, you know, play with this moment that we have together. Maybe another breath here, still, you know, pressing down through the hands, pressing down through the feet, reminding ourselves of these things. See, I even have to remind myself, I always kink my neck up. That's, you know, still a student. We're learning every day. It's the awareness that matters, bringing the awareness to the breath, to the body, that connection. If you were in Sunday's class, that was our theme. In the ocean, I've actually been talking about how, you know, connection's always there. It's always around. You can find ways to connect things, and you can find good ways to connect things and bad ways to connect things. So it's good to have that opportunity to choose, right? So, and now we're going to choose to move on here. So we're going to bend deeply in the knees. Good, and we're going to step that right foot back into a nice high plank. So the left foot will also meet there. So left foot back, right foot back. And we're still pressing down through the hands because they're still on the earth, pressing down through the toes of the feet. And again, shoulders are, well, hands are shoulders width distance apart, feet are hip width distance apart. And the legs are straight, as straight as they can be. But if you know that you like to take this posture with the knees on the earth, you go ahead and you do that too. So you drop to the knees, maybe you keep the toes on the floor, maybe you lift them up, you know, multiple modifications, tomato, right? So we're in plank pose here, and you're like, I'm really tired, lady. So we're gonna just take a nice gentle flow here. We're gonna drop to the knees, if you haven't already. Take a deep breath in. On the exhale, push away from the hands. Good, on the exhale out, we're gonna hug the elbows in. And if you don't understand what that means, that's okay, because I'll rephrase that. So I'm practicing not using that word hugging, but maybe turn the elbows to face the back of your mat. So if they're facing out, now they're facing towards the back. Maybe I'll show it this way too. You see my hands? Okay, good. So my elbows are out now. Now I'm hugging them in. Yep, see how they were out? Hug them in. And maybe that's weird for you. Maybe you're just like, no. And that's cool too. However, we're still on our knees. We're still here. And we're going to take our chest to the earth. Hopefully you can still see my frame. Good. Chest to the earth. So bending at the elbows, chest to the earth. And naturally the legs will straighten out. You're going to uncurl the back of the toes. And then press down through the tops of your shoelaces if they were there. And the hands are tucked in by the sides. When I say tucked in, I mean the right hand is outside the right rib cage, left hand is outside of the left rib cage. It's about at your chest height. And again, we're gonna squeeze, yeah, like there's a melon behind our back or a balloon that we're squeezing between our elbows. And then I'll naturally lift the shoulders up and back. Now I'm gonna talk about the belly here just for a brief moment. So we're here in a low cobra, that's the posture that we are in. And our gaze is facing forward, maybe pointing down at the mat, maybe you're looking up just a little bit, but not kinking that neck so it feels uncomfortable or feels like you can't breathe. And breath, that's another thing we should be doing here, right? So we're still engaged, energy through the legs, energy through the breath, squeezing that balloon behind us, hugging in that belly. So drawing your belly button up to your spine, out through your back. You know, thinking about sending energy into that lower belly. And on the exhale, we're just gonna lower the head now, relax the arms. And then we're gonna lift back up on the inhale to your low cobra. We're gonna uncurl the toes now. And we're gonna push our way back into your modified high plank, or we're gonna go full throttle, uncurl the toes so they're pressing down on top of your mat. So the bottoms of your toes are on top of your mat, yeah. So pressing down, straightening the legs, pushing into the earth. As you push into the earth with your feet, you push into the earth with your hands, and then you draw your belly button in, out towards your spine, and you push back up to high plank. So 2 modifications there. And then you're just gonna keep lifting at the hips and sending yourself into a downward facing dog. So downward facing dog, you're like a pyramid right now with your body, or a triangle if someone was looking at you. Deep breath in, deep breath out. So remember that like hugging action you did, and I said, I'm not gonna call it hugging, I'm gonna call it turning your elbows towards the back of your mat. I want you to try that action again. And then you're gonna notice maybe, take a look at your hands real quickly. They might be tented in the index finger area and the thumb area. I want you to push down there, especially. But don't forget about the pinky edge and, you know, the palm. And let's talk about the feet while we're down here. So the feet, you're on your toes, or if you are a seasoned practitioner, you will have your heels to the earth. Some days I can't even do that, so I like staying with the heels off of the earth and on my toes. And this is a long time in a down dog, but you guys are doing amazing. And there's a lot of things going on. So we're gonna take another deep breath, in and out, in and out. 3 more, in and out. 2. Your own count, but 5 breaths in down dog. If you already did 5 breaths, you're like, okay, lady, I'm in a child's pose now. But we're gonna be gonna walk our feet all the way to our hands at the top of our mat. So we're pressing down through the earth as we do that. Not an inhale, we're gonna lengthen our spine. So doing so, we're pushing into the earth, bending deeply into the knees. With our feet and our hands, we're pushing down. We're lifting up with the hips. Then we're just gonna find some length in the spine by tilting the gaze. Just a little bit. Not enough to kink the neck, but having a relaxed neck, relaxed shoulders as you lengthen through your spine. And on the exhale, we'll fold. Rounding in the spine here, the head is hanging loosely, the gaze is towards the back of the room. Maybe your gaze is closed, but the head should be nice and relaxed here. So we'll take a bend in the knees and find another inhale and lengthen. But then we'll continue that so that we're lifting the fingertips off the earth and sweeping them out to the sides and reaching up over our heads as we stand up tall. Good. Arms are still up at the sky. On the exhale, we'll bring them together at our heart center. And that finishes up just about one sun salutation. And how does that feel? Good to get the body moving, right? So the blood should be pumping now. We should be feeling some heat. And we're going to take it again. This time, I'm going to encourage you to do the modifications if you didn't. And if you did the modifications the first time, why not do the full shebang? Try it, practice it, why not? Practice. All right, take a deep breath in, reach up through the arms, legs are hip width distance apart, feet are pressing down, arms are reaching up about shoulder width distance apart, and we're gonna bend at the waist, folding forward, and I'm gonna bring my hands to my hips again because there was a mirror in front of me, but it's good to reach the arms forward, so if you've got the space for it, you're gonna do it. Maybe next time I'll do it and then modify it. I think I have a way of figuring that out. We're folding over, taking it slow. You don't have to take these slow. I like to take them slow just because it feels good to do like the hamstrings and the calves slowly and gently, just feeling that stretch. All right, take a deep breath in, find some length. Deep breath out. Now with the left foot, we're gonna step back, high plank. Right foot, high plank. Hip width distance apart with the legs and the feet and the hands are shoulder width distance apart. And again, we're in high plank and we're gonna hold it here for a few moments. It's been about 15 minutes so far, so we're gonna start winding down soon. So I'm gonna push you a little bit this round, but we've got this, you've got this. So we're here for about 10 breaths. If you don't wanna do 10 breaths, you don't gotta do it, but do as many breaths as you can. I'm gonna count it down from 10. Inhale. Exhale. Maybe you try Ujjayi Breath. So lips sealed. Inhale through the nose, 9. Exhale through the nose. Good. Maybe again. Inhale. 8. Exhale. Inhale. 7. Exhale. And while you're here, straighten those legs a little. Maybe you brought the knees down. Maybe you're over how slow this is going. I'm kind of over it, but we're going to still do it. So we're at 7. Or maybe we just did 7. We're at 6. In, out. 5. In, out. 4. In, out. Reach to the crown of your head, nice and long through the spine. Reach through the backs of the heels. I don't think there are backs of the ears, but 2. In and out. I skipped 3, don't forget. 3, in and out. Last one, in, let it out. Heels, not heels, knees come down, chest comes down. You're taking a little break, but we're still doing work. So we're coming into a, a Sphinx pose. My glass. So in a Sphinx pose, shoulders are relaxed. We're on our forearms, our low belly, and our hips are on the earth. Our legs are on the earth, extended long behind us. Then we're gonna come back to our hands. They should be spread nice, and your hands should be spread. Your fingers should be spread nice and wide. And index finger should be pointing straight forward. Elbows should be about shoulder width apart. And we're just checking in here, enjoying and loving the fact that we are no longer in that plank pose. That was a long plank pose, it felt like forever, right? Yeah, me too. So you should be sweating by now. Your heart should be racing a little bit, but let's slow it down with some deep breaths. Inhale through the nose. Exhale through the mouth or through the nose. And we're extending long. We're pressing down through the tops of our feet here. And with every inhale and every exhale, we're lengthening through the crown of the head, like there's a string pulling us up towards the ceiling. We're dropping the shoulders away from our ears. We're pressing down through the elbows, pressing down through the hands and the forearms. Then the belly is filling up, and it is exhaling it out. That it is the breath. That's CO2. In with the good oxygen. Out with that bad, nasty CO2. Good in and good out. All right, we're going to finish up this sun salutation with another inhale and another exhale. And here comes the modification choice. So we're going to bring the palms where our hands just were. Elbows should be relatively over the wrists here. It's kind of hard to tell at this point, but you should feel it. I don't know. I'm not going to tell you what to feel, but I'm going to try to explain it a little bit better than I just did. So remember the balloon that we had behind our back, or that I started with like a grapefruit. I don't even know what I said, but I think I like the balloon one better. So let's imagine a balloon. We're squeezing it between our elbows, and that's going to lift the chest, right? We're pressing down through the shoelaces. If we had shoes on, maybe you do have shoes on. I don't know. So we're pressing down there. And when we push down, that lifts those thighs. Those thighs, right? That feels good, but now we're going to uncurl the toes. And we're going to lift. So if you're going to push it all the way back up to plank, you're uncurling the toes and you're lifting the legs. And on 3, we're going to push the hands down into the earth. Push those legs down and straighten them out. You're not pushing the legs down. I'm sorry, I'm taking that back. You're going to push the feet down, push the hands down, and press your way up into high plank. If you're not doing that, we're going to do the modified one. So we're going to take it back down. And we're going to still press our feet into the ground, but we're going to push back and up into a modified plank pose. And then maybe you lift the knees from there. And then we all meet in a downward facing dog. So that nice triangle pose we're doing, that's different. If this isn't a triangle pose, it looks like a triangle though. Because your hips are up nice and high, and you're pressing down with the hands and pressing down with the feet. And we need to think about the belly button here, and that low belly. When you think about engaging with every exhale, those core muscles, those abdominal muscles, and with that, you think about scrunching up the mat if you could, like wrinkling the mat with your hands and your feet, because you're pulling with the hands and you're pressing with the toes. And about 5 breaths have passed, or we will take maybe a few more. And then we'll slowly begin to walk the feet towards the hands. Again, if you need more time in that down dog, you take the time you need. If you're keeping it going, let's keep it flowing. Take an inhale and find some length. Press down to the hands and the feet. Let the gaze be soft. Let the neck be soft. Let the ears guide the way. I almost wasn't going to say it, but my yoga teacher Renee said this once, and it just really resonated. So think about like you're a donkey. You're going to bend your knees while you're doing this, because I almost just hyperextended mine just talking. But think about back to donkey. So you have those long velvety ears pointing out the top of your head. You're going to let your ears be your guide when you find an inhale and lengthen. So natural, nothing kinked in the neck. Taking a breath in, taking a breath out. I'm going to bend the knees and lift the arms, sweep them by our sides and up into the sky. Maybe you tilt the gaze up towards your hands, you bring them together, and you take them down to your heart center. I just want you to feel one hand over the heart, one hand over the belly. Feeling your heart beating. Inhaling and exhaling. Feel that connection of the breath and the movements. And we're going to start a sun salutation B, but we're just going to do a chair pose realistically, and we're just going to lower all the way to the earth. So we're going to inhale the arms up over our heads. And then we're going to pretend that we're sitting in a chair. So literally, pretend like you're going to take a seat, but while you're taking your seat, you're putting a lot of weight in the heels. And you're going to lower as low as you can go. And maybe the toes come together and the heels stay separate. Maybe they just stay hip width distance apart. I think for right now, we'll do hip width distance apart. So feet are hip width distance apart, and you're squatting into a chair. Yeah, that's what we're doing here. And maybe at first we'll do it with the hands on the hips. Yeah, I like that better. Because the arms are probably tired right now. And this is just a 30-minute class, so we're just going to do the damn thing. But my spine right now, it's nice and neutral here. It's not, sticking my butt out and rounded, or like this. The bend comes from the hips and the waist and the length reaching through the crown of the head here. Good, see I'm a little bent forward here, so we want to think sit a little bit deeper, lift the chest up a little bit higher, and then I want you to just look down briefly, just at the toes. Can you see them? I can kind of see mine. If you can't, sink those hips a little bit further back. So think about I'm behind you, I'm pulling your hips, I'm pulling your hips back, but you're not letting me because you're strong and you're like, oh, my hips go all the way back there, it burns. So you're pulling it forward, but it still burns, but it's better, right? Good, so again, lift the chest up a little bit higher, sink a little bit deeper. This is enough, right? You're like, why are we still here? Sink it lower, 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 drop it to the floor. Use your hands to get there. Just be thankful we're not there anymore, right? Chair pose. Who knew? Every time you sit in a chair now, you're like, why? Anyway, so we're going to lower all the way onto our backs. I'm going to take a deep breath in and a deep breath out. And we're just going to briefly, not breathe, it's going to take a little minute or two. We've got 5 minutes left here. So actually, I think we're a little bit over because we started at 2:45. What is it, 2:45? Yeah, so that's 15. And then, yeah, 3:15. Oh no, we're doing good, guys. Math is not my strong suit, that's why I teach yoga, right? So we're on our back still, and you're like, why did I choose to tune into this? And we're gonna place our hands by our sides, if they weren't already there. The palm's gonna be facing down. We're gonna take a bridge pose, and it's just like a nice back bend, heart opening, leg working, yumminess. If you have a wheel or like a back bend in practice and you love back bends, you can do that here. But I think this is a good place to start if we're just getting started because it's a foundational piece, This will become more. So back to the hands and the feet and everything that's on the ground right now. So what's on the ground? We've got our feet. They're pressing into the earth. We've got our hands and the arms. Let's not forget our arms and our shoulders. Those are there too. And our entire back is on the floor, actually. How about that? Beautiful. So we're on our backs. With our knees bent and our feet are pressing into the ground. And our hands are and our back is. But we're going to think about our hips now. And they're there, and they're going to come off the earth because it's just going to feel good. And you're going to get there by putting so much energy and pressing down to the feet and the hands so much and engaging the legs here and lifting with the hips. So you want to think, can my hips reach the ceiling? And my shoulders, they're doing wonderfully here. This is a nice shoulder opening stretch here. And it's a posture. I don't want to say it's stretching because we're strengthening while we stretch. We're strengthening and stretching. How about that? So our shoulders are as if they were a tiny little seed that we were trying to pick up with the scrunching of our shoulders. Like we could squeeze it underneath there. That's what we want to envision. So it's going to open up the chest and you're going to place your head. Your head should be down on the earth. I forgot to mention your head. Your head's on the earth too. Oh my goodness. Imagine. I'm sorry if you were lifting your head. I'm learning. So we're breathing in here, and we're pressing down, and we're lifting up still, and then we're going to slowly, gently lower all the way down to the earth. So that was good. That was like a minute and a half of, that was enough, right? That was enough of bridge pose. So now we're just going to gently twist, take our knees over to the right, Maybe you tuck them in first. Maybe you tuck them in first before you roll over. And then roll over to the right. Not maybe, do that. Don't just roll over, it's gonna hurt. I just did it and I was like, ooh, that didn't actually feel good. Let's teach better. Let's just be better, always, right? Good, so the left palm is pressing down. The left shoulder is anchored into the earth, and the right shoulder should be as anchored into the earth as it can too, right? Because we're twisting here, right? And with every inhale and every exhale, the knees reach further over to the right, and maybe you tilt the gaze over to the left shoulder. We got about a minute left. We're doing excellent for time. And we're going to tuck the knees back towards the middle into our chest. Maybe massage the back by rocking left and right. And then we're going to take the knees in and over to the left. Maybe you get a crack or two. Tilt the gaze over to the right. Maybe extend the right arm long, palm facing down. Maybe you bring the left palm onto the right leg or knee. Don't call your knee, maybe. No. Maybe close the eyes. We're going to come right back through center on an inhale or an exhale, wherever you are. It's great. Massage the spine once more, rocking left to right. Maybe you roll it all the way around. Maybe you rock up and down. You know, whatever feels good. But we're coming into the last moments of this practice, so we're going to take our Shavasana, our final resting posture. It's called a corpse pose as well. So the palms are flipped out, facing the ceiling. The eyes are closed. And the breath is nice and natural here. Full inhales and full exhales. Legs are extended, relaxed. Really just letting the earth hold our bodies up. Not doing any work, not having any, well, I'm not going to say you're not having any racing thoughts right now, because this is probably the hardest posture, right? Shavasana is sitting in what's supposed to be silent, I'm talking. So with that, let's try to quiet our minds, accept the thoughts as they come in without judgment or expectation, right? Truly just being present with our breath and with those thoughts, those thoughts, if they start to arise, if the brain starts to wander, focus and come back to the breath. And always come back to the breath. And with that, Shavasana. After about 10 breaths or so, begin to bring awareness back to your body, maybe with our toes, with our fingers, shake the head side to side, gently reawakening the body, moving the arms and the legs. Eventually we'll find our way onto the right side of our mats, of our bodies, curled up into a fetal position. This is traditional postures for ending the yoga practice. It's a posture that symbolizes a rebirth, the fetal position, as if we're babies, entering back into your day, renewed, re-energized, and really ready to finish off a great Monday, right? With a deep breath in and a deep breath out, we'll push ourselves away from the earth and come into a comfortable seated posture. Lately, I've been really digging this diamond shape with my legs, so I'm just pressing the soles of my feet together and getting a pillow, or I have some pillows nearby. I should have mentioned that before. I didn't think I'd end a class like this. But when energy calls, you listen, right? So we're seated with that diamond shape and our legs. A nice comfortable posture, honestly. I always think myself, but just be comfortable. Maybe you're still in Shavasana and you're like, I just like it here and I'm never leaving. So keep the eyes closed. If we open them, maybe we'll just close them once more. And we'll just think back. Actually, we're not going to think back. I don't know why I said that. We're not going to think back. We're going to appreciate, right, the practice that we've just done. We're going to appreciate the time that we took to take care of our bodies and our minds. We stepped away from, the laundry lists, the to-dos, the work, the kids maybe. Took time to sit with yourself and your body and your breath. And isn't that something special? So with that, we'll bring the hands to be heart center, one palm over the other. We'll take a deep breath in together. Open the mouth and exhale everything out. Nice long exhale, emptying the lungs. Bring the palms to touch at your heart center. And up to the third eye center. And now we'll bow to each other as we say namaste. Thank you so much for joining me. I know this was unexpected, but normally this will be actually an 8 a.m. class. So if you are an early riser, want to get a little 30-minute yoga boost in for the morning to jumpstart your Monday, to jumpstart your week, why not, right? 8 a.m. Mondays moving forward, and actually tomorrow night, we've added a lot of classes. A lot has happened since yesterday. I don't know what happened, but we got excited and we're like, I've got the time for it. Let's offer more classes. You guys need it. I think I could use it a lot. I'm a new teacher. I've been a teacher for like 3 years, but I haven't really been teaching. I did for a little bit and I didn't love it, to be honest. I was so uncomfortable. I don't think I was just like ready, and there's no better time than the present now. And with everything that's going on, this has been kind of easier for me, to be honest, to, teach over. I know it's a little weird to say, but it's like, yeah, human connection is great, but it was intimidating for me, to be in a room full of people as like a 20-something-year-old and pretending like I knew what I was doing when I was just like internally screaming. So anyways, but every day this week we're gonna have class, except for Saturdays. So Sundays is my restorative. Our restorative, it's not mine, it's ours, it's our class. Today, Monday usually will be at 8. I had some technical difficulties, like I said, but we got it in. So 8 a.m. on Monday morning, Tuesday nights at 9. I know it's late-ish, is it though? You're just watching Netflix, so like, why not jump on your mat or your floor or your bed and just do some yoga? And as Osha would say, don't jump too high. You might fall or hurt yourself. And so, so Tuesdays, 9 p.m. Again, all these classes are 30 minutes. If you want them longer, I just do 30 because it's, I have 30 minutes, you have 30 minutes. Let's just do some yoga for 30 minutes. It's not as intimidating as, an hour. But Wednesday nights, I'll write this all down too, but I figured why not chat to no one who's probably watching me right now. But so Wednesday, early morning, 8 a.m., Thursday, 9 p.m., Friday, 8 a.m. And then you can catch Becky after. She does booty yoga, and it's like so amazing, you guys. Oh my goodness. I haven't done it yet, but I've seen a video and I'm like, this girl's energy is like, yes, she's amazing. So Becky Holt, I believe, I don't want to say that's her last name because I don't really remember, but I'll tag her in this too. And yeah, so I'm excited for this, you guys. And again, if you don't know me, I'm Desirée. I don't think I said that in the beginning. I'll get you next time though. Practicing, right? It's always a practice. Teaching is still practicing. I'm still a student. Hopefully always will be, right? So yeah, thank you guys for showing up and checking this out and, you know, supporting all of us, Osha and I, and we're gonna do a lot of fun things together. Yeah, so thank you, and shout out to Maddie Bren. I don't actually know how to pronounce her last name. Maddie Bren. You tell me, we'll talk. But hopefully you're watching this and you're gonna take this class. It's a little faster, but you got it. You can modify it. I believe in you. He's one of my patrons, Maddie Bren. Yeah, he told me to give him a shout out, and I forgot to on Sunday, but I remembered now. So, all right, I'm done talking. You've sat with me long enough. Have a beautiful rest of your day, and I will see you next time. Thank you. Bye.